While the PSP may have had an incredible library with many wonderfully weird, experimental and fun games, it doesn't even get close to the utter insanity that is the Nintendo DS's. Its dual-screen nature, touchscreen compatibility, insane sales, and the fact that it was easy to develop for made it a prime target for developers who wanted to throw ideas at the wall to see what stuck. While my collection of PSP and PS2 oddities reaches into the hundreds, the size of my DS one is more than double their size. So once again I decided to spin a wheel and used it to pick out 10 games from my list and see how that goes. A lot of these games I first played with a very good friend of mine, so unlike the PSP Grabbag, none of these are fresh experiences for me. Nonetheless, it was really fun to revisit them and I hope you'll enjoy it as much as I did. So without further ado, let's reach in. Metropolis Crimes is a point-and-click adventure murder mystery game by an esteemed French developer known for such classics as Imagined Fashion Designer World Tour and Germany's Next Top Model, The Game. This game is something else. First thing anyone will notice is the art style. Everything is so flat and ugly and the characters' faces all look so uncanny that it's impossible to take seriously. The setting and writing are comically bad. I get that they were trying to paint a lawless city where crime runs amok, but are you seriously trying to tell me that you can just buy a random-ass gun from a vending machine for 30 bucks and no one thinks that's a bad idea? The dialogue is actually surreal. You have like this scene of a police officer wanting to arrest Red Johnson, the protagonist, and he just goes, "Oh, actually I'm a private detective," and the cop just lets it go. But then after that, if you decide to talk to him, he's convinced that Red is the killer. Oh, yeah, I should probably give the setup of the first case before continuing. So, Red's friend, Dick, owner of Dick Photos, yes, that's the actual name, is found dead in his shop, and there are two suspects who could have done it. After that, it's just a simple matter of collecting clues and figuring out who'd done it. The core gameplay consists of drawing circles and using them as a lens to investigate, solving insultingly easy puzzles by inspecting stuff you find lying around, and drawing question marks to talk to people. The puzzles are essentially like investigating objects in an Ace Attorney game, and are insultingly easy, like I said. And even if you do somehow manage to fail, most it'll do is change to a game over screen with no musical change or anything, you just get sent back to before you did the puzzle. Since we're already on the subject, the music is fucking abysmal. The issue isn't even the compositions themselves, those are fine and frankly very generic and forgettable. No, the issue comes from the fact that there's only 7 songs total in the entire game. I went in the files and counted. That's it, 7. No more, no less. And they loop so often that it drives me insane. Sometimes Red will also recap his findings, like Kyle in Hotel Dusk, though you always select answers by drawing some signs. Sometimes finding a clue is also a massive pain in the ass and can take forever, because outside of painstakingly checking each and every single pixel with the lens, there is no indication for what can and can't be interacted with. Interestingly enough, the game got not just 1, but 2 sequels in the form of Red Johnson's Chronicles and Red Johnson's Chronicles 1 Against All, both of which are on Steam, but to be frank, I haven't played them, and judging by the reception they have on Steam, it doesn't look like I'm missing out on anything. But what I do know is that they ruined Red's design. Biggest downgrade in gaming history. What a disgusting redesign. Anyway, next game. You know, when I think of London and goths, my first thought isn't usually a survival horror. That's second. But some Japanese dudes decided to make a game out of that, I guess. Londonian Gothics, Meikyuu no Lolita, is a game about Lolita fashion with a title screen theme that reminds me an awful lot of Duke Nukem for some reason. The actual in-game music is very much Baroque inspired, which is a lot more fitting, so I have no idea what's up with the title screen, but here we are. This game was made by Mega Cyber Inc., and in all my research it always looks like this was the only game they've ever developed. Keeping with the last game's theme, the artwork is genuinely terrifying. Some of these sprites are nightmare fuel and a million times scarier than the game itself. Aside from the self-explanatory dress-up mode, the best thing I can compare it to is Pac-Man. And I wish I was joking. You just run around the same looking mazes, dodging enemies, activating runes, and getting to the next room until the music changes and you can destroy a giant demon orb that kills all enemies in the last few rooms. You can stun enemies with a thunderbolt attack, but it's so situational that I rarely ever used it. There is also this weird heart rate monitor on the lower screen, but I legitimately have no idea what it's supposed to mean since you die in one hit anyway. I would definitely say this is one of the games of all time, and definitely one of the games ever released. Now for what I believe to be the most interesting game on this list. Deep Labyrinth is a first-person dungeon crawler by Interactive Brains, a company that, to my knowledge, has only ever made 2 other games, both of which being Fast and Furious tie-ins for Japanese phones. This game was actually also originally released for the same Japanese phones, with the DS version being a remake. This game somehow managed to get a localization thanks to Atlas and is thus fully available in English. The game is separated into 2 chapters. Chapter 1, Sean and Ace, is a totally original story for the DS version about a kid named, well, Sean, whose parents are arguing, and then his dog jumps out of a car and runs into some weird mansion. Sean's parents go look for him but don't come back, so the kid goes inside the mansion to try and help them, but instead gets sucked into Eden. There he finds his dog and meets a Grimmirakala that tells him that he's actually in Vimana, the airship of the gods, which is a concept from Hinduism. After that, you meet a Moksha, which functions as your safe spot, and the story becomes this weird tale about the importance of memories and Hinduism. And also about saving Sean's parents, I guess, but who cares about them. It goes into some really unexpected territory, but honestly, I dig it. This rocks. Chapter 2, Wandering Soul, on the other hand, is a full-on remake of the original game, and follows a random dude summoned into a mysterious world who almost gets killed by a skeleton within seconds of regaining consciousness. After that, he finds out he's stuck in a labyrinth because of his traumatic memories, which he has to come to terms with in order to leave, and then he tries to escape without doing that anyway. Both campaigns even have several endings, giving the game quite a bit of replayability, especially since it's only 10 hours long at most. While the stories are totally different between the two, the gameplay remains identical. You move around using the D-pad, but everything else is done with the touchscreen. And I really do mean everything. Whenever you encounter an enemy, you immediately log onto them, allowing you to circle strafe around them as you attack and block. Generally, the game reminds me of the old Might and Magic games, and I mean that in a good way. The way magic works also reminds me of Arx Fatalis, wherein you learn a spell and then draw it onto the screen in order to activate it. Unfortunately, the movement in the game is choppy as fuck, as you can see from the footage, and it can seriously get a bit much at times, especially when paired with the incredibly janky control scheme. It's the kind of thing that'll work for some and be utterly painful for others. And this is where it gets interesting. This game had 2 pretty big name people working on it. The music was done by none other than Yasunori Mitsuda, the man behind the soundtracks of Xenogears, Shadow Hearts, and of course the Chrono series. And the writer, on the other hand, was Masato Kato, director of Chrono Trigger and Cross and writer for Xenogears and Baten Kaitos. As expected from these 2, their work is really damn good. The soundtrack is fantastic, easily the best part of the game, and the stories are simple but effective. I very much enjoyed my time with the game, but it's definitely one of those love it or hate it kind of games that require a lot of getting used to. Bakusou Dekotora Densetsu Black is a game about a sociopathic semi-truck driver who makes it his mission to race as many of his fellow truck drivers as possible on public freeways, whilst committing as much vehicular manslaughter as humanly possible. It's the last entry in Spike's Bakusou Dekotora Densetsu series from back in the good old days before the merger with Chunsoft. It's kind of a racing game, though being faster isn't the only way to win, because you always have the option of murder. Your goal is to beat your opponent in one of these 2 ways. Along the way, you'll have a lot of car drivers trying to stop you. How do you deal with them? Even more murder. The more enemies you kill back to back, the higher your score. Kill enough and you'll be rewarded with a boost. Kill civilian drivers though and you'll lose points. This game is really stupid, it's frantic, and most importantly, it's fun. Check it out if it sounds like your kind of thing. There's a visual novel about a first-year college girl named Karen. One day a mysterious organization comes to take her life, so in true anime fashion she does the only thing an anime character knows to do. Murder. She becomes a fucking sniper. And this is where the gameplay kicks in. You murder people with your sniper rifle. Well, you're not actually supposed to kill them, more so scare them away, but it's a completely batshit insane concept nonetheless. Everything else is basically what you expect. The story is nothing to write home about, and it's generally pretty generic. If you, for whatever reason, are into Japanese visual novels about conspiracies and anime girls with sniper rifles, then I'd say it's at least worth checking out. However, if you are not part of that very specific group of people, then you may as well ignore this game's existence. The most interesting thing about it is the fact that it's developer Furyu's first game. The company would go on to publish games like Caligula Effect 1 and 2 and The Alliance Alive, so hey, at least that's something. Tsubasa Chronicle is an adaptation of the anime Tsubasa Reservoir Chronicle based on the manga of the same name by Clamp, set in the same universe as Cardcaptor Sakura and Triple X Holic. I have never heard of any of these things before researching for this video, and I frankly do not care. I have just simply enunciated a lot of words without any fundamental understanding of their meaning. And frankly, consequently, I gave zero fucks about the story, because why would I? Funnily enough, it was developed by Kavia, a studio known primarily for making violent PS2 games like Resident Evil Dead Aim and Drakengard. It's supposed to be an RPG, but the combat is rock, paper, scissors, meaning it's pretty much completely luck-based. How fun. It had a sequel, but honestly it's really not worth looking into unless you're already a fan of the source material. I wasn't, I don't care about the source material, and thus this game is pretty shit. WIZmans World. Unfortunately, this game doesn't actually feature any scat music. The OST is pretty nice nonetheless. This is a JRPG made by Jolico, and just up front, I love these visuals. This is some of, if not the finest sprite work and animation to come out of any DS RPG. It's some top-notch stuff. The story is pretty damn simple. You are a wizard, you have 3 homunculi, go kill demons and save the world. The combat uses a similar setup to Final Fantasy X, wherein you're presented with a strict turn order, and the actions you take with each character will affect when their next turn will take place. The main difference here comes in the form of the chain system. Each consecutive player turn gives you a damage boost until the next enemy turn starts, where after the damage you deal gets reset to its base value. I like this as it incentivizes strategizing around your turns even more and allows for some pretty intricate setups. The most interesting system in the game comes in the form of your party members. Every time you defeat an enemy, they drop their souls, which you can then fuse with your homunculi in order to turn them into powerful beasts for you to summon. The stronger the enemy you defeated was, the stronger your beasts will become, making frequent upgrading of your party a necessity. All around, the game is very solid and can even be quite relaxing at times. I enjoyed it a lot. Mostly. Unfortunately, the game fumbles in 2 major areas. For one, the bosses are all insane difficulty spikes, with the enemies in the areas all being so easy to deal with, you'll never be ready for these slog that these bastards throw at you. My god, these guys are spongy. It's actually insane. The second issue though, comes after beating the game. Simply put, you don't. You beat the final boss and then the game actually goes, never mind LeMayo, do it all again but this time it's harder. Like it's Ghosts and Goblins or some shit. It's a major pain in the ass and honestly the main reason I can't recommend beating it. Though I do think it's at least worth checking out, assuming you know Japanese that is, since, like half the games on this video, this one was never translated and honestly doesn't look like it ever will. Pack it up guys, I have the new picture book definition of mediocrity. Steel Princess is a game about a thief who gets thrust into the role of a legendary hero. It's a puzzle platformer with horrible visuals, terrifying character portraits, and a really unfunny story. This game, I can't. I seriously can't. It's so boring. The puzzles are short, but incredibly simple, and usually revolve around killing all enemies in a specific order whilst navigating the many environmental hazards the game throws at you. I frankly got bored of it before even beating the first world, and would probably not have beaten it if not out of obligation for this video. The level editor is pretty cool though, and I'm sure you could make some really interesting puzzles with it. Who this man? Why he here? Is an educational game based on the seinen manga Dragon Sakura, which I have never read and never want to because the art style haunts my nightmares. You make your custom avatar who will inevitably look like a demon from hell, and then get to do some learning exercises for writing and math and what have you. Honestly, I don't have anything to say about this game, but I want to let you all in on my personal experience with this. As mentioned earlier on, I played a lot of these games for the very first time with a very good friend of mine. This and the last game in this video, i.e. the one after this one, are 2 that particularly stuck with us. We periodically send us screenshots of the title screen with the caption, "Who this man? Why he here?" as a sort of inside joke, and to me, it's the funniest thing in the world. So I'd like to ask a favor here, just go into the comments and type, "Who this man? Why he here?" for me, will ya? Okay, thanks. And lastly, I present a game to you that means a lot to me. I want to clarify that I am the first person on all of YouTube to have actual gameplay footage of this game here, ready to be shown, as all videos on it are promotional material only, such as trailers. For all we know, I may very well be the only person on the entire internet to have actually beaten this game. A character from this game has been my channel's mascot for more than 2 years now, and I have hidden them within every single video that is currently public on this channel. I own a copy of it physically because you can get one for $5 off of Amazon, and it is so obscure that it doesn't even have a Japanese Wikipedia article. This is Item Getter, Bokura no Kagaku to Mahou no Kankei. And this is my daughter, R-chan, along with several instances of where I have placed her in older videos. What does the R stand for? You'll probably be able to tell by the time I'm done talking about this game. Though for those who really want to know, her actual name is Alice Granfaria. Item Getter evolved far outside the scope of just an inside joke with my friend. It became an aspect of my channel as a whole, and I will always love it for that. As for the game itself, well, story first. You have these kids, they use a time machine, it lands them in a fantasy world of magic, and then they go to Harry Potter school and learn magic, and then they try to find a way back home. I really could not give less of a shit about the story because I'm just here for R-chan. Every single scene she's in, and every single sprite she has, makes her look like there are no thoughts in her brain at any given time. She hasn't had a single goddamn thought in her entire life, and I love it. Currently hanging out with friends, head empty. Traveling through time, head empty. In jail after getting arrested on charges of assault? Mildly disappointed that she's going to be late for dinner. I legitimately don't know how they made her like this in every single scene, but I will never tire of seeing it. It's just too funny. Anyway, back to the game. The main gimmick is that the entire game was marketed around the fact that you can create your own items for alchemy, and then create your fully own items, by drawing them onto the touchscreen. It's a neat concept, but it's wholly useless. The average gameplay loop revolves around picking up items, using them to craft stuff by drawing a sign, enhancing it by drawing a different sign, then selling it for profit. Every now and then you'll run into an enemy, this is an RPG after all, but that too revolves around, you guessed it, drawing signs. It's dull and repetitive and I really couldn't be asked to care for it. With such a weak, well, everything, it's no wonder that this game flew under the radar of so many people in Japan, ending up as the worst selling game on the DS, which is arguably the one thing it's most well known for, if you could even say that. I honestly find it quite impressive that this game is almost fully voice acted. Not many DS games did that, so it's really weird to see this one out of all of them do it. The music is also kind of alright I guess, but here's the thing, it's nowhere to be found online. In general, there is so little information about this game online that I have made it my godsworn mission to catalog as much of it as I can, starting by ripping as much out of the game's files as I can figure out. So expect to see me upload the OST to the Trash Can second channel within the next few weeks. Maybe I'll even do some for the other games in this video. But until then, I've got the devil to deal with. Cheers, and do me a favor here, have a fantastic day.